What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some solo Marc Almond for the first time in a while. And as with the previous solo Marc Almond reaction I did, I think about a year and a half ago, big thanks to Kim for sharing this and a number of other tunes I'm going to go through today and tomorrow. And yes, this one comes from 1993. It's a live performance of a tune originally by Charles Aznavour. I feel like that's a name I'm familiar with by reputation, or I've seen it somewhere, but as far as I know, I've never heard any of his music in its original form, and I don't believe I've heard this. And the song is called What Makes a Man a Man. So yes, Kim highlighted that this song will take on very personal connotations for Marc, and ultimately she highlighted the line, "No one has the right to be a judge of what is right for me." I may be misquoting that, but essentially that's the line, which I have to point out, given everything you see behind you, it's a very punk rock type of sentiment, but of course in the context of Marc and his sexuality and social and cultural mores or attitudes about sexual variation or diversity, and in light of prejudices about people who are on the LGBTQ spectrum, I feel like it takes on particular significance, and in this month even more so. I will say also that it makes me wonder whether the original Charles Aznavour song was written in the same context. Obviously I'll have to listen to other lyrics along the way. I'll see what I can catch on a first listen. And I do believe Kim mentioned this comes from Marc's 12 Years of Tears tour. So yes, this is Marc Almond from 1993 performing a tune originally by Charles Aznavour, and it's What Makes a Man a Man.
I'd like to sing this song for all those who dare to be different. For all those who have the conviction to be different in the face of adversity. There's a lot of it around as well. My mum and I, we live alone. A great apartment is our home in Fairholme Towers. I have to keep me company, 2 cats, a dog, a parakeet, some plants and flowers. I help my mother do the chores. I wash, she dries, I do the floors. We work together. I shop and cook and sew a bit. The mum does too, I must admit. I do it better. At night I work in a strange bar, impersonating every star. I'm quite deceiving. The customers come in with doubt and wonder what I'm all about. But leave believing. I do a very special show where I am nude from head to toe. After strip-teasing, each night the men look so surprised. I change my sex before their eyes. Tell me if you can, what makes a man a man? At 3 o'clock or so I meet with friends to have a bite to eat and conversation. We love to empty out our hearts on every subject, from the arts to liberation. We love to pull apart someone and spread some gossip just for fun, or start a rumor. We let our hair down, so to speak, and mock ourselves with tongue-in-cheek and inside humor. So many times we have to pay for having fun and being gay. It's not amusing. There's always those who spoil our games by finding fault and calling names. Always accusing. They draw attention to themselves at the expense of someone else. It's so confusing. Yet they make fun of how I walk and imitate the way I talk. Tell me if you can, what makes a man a man? My masquerade comes to an end when I go home to bed again, alone and friendless. I shut my eyes, I think of him, I fantasize what might have been. My dreams are endless. We love each other, but it seems the love lives only in my dreams. It's so one-sided, but in this life I must confess, the search for love and happiness is unrequited. I ask myself, what have I got, and what I am and what I'm not. What am I giving? Then answers come from those who make the rules that some of us must break, just to keep living. I know my life is not a crime, I'm just a victim of my time. I stand defenseless. Nobody has the right to be the judge of what is right for me. Tell me if you can, what makes a man a man? Tell me if you can. Tell me if you can. Tell me if you can. What makes a man a man?
Big ovation there, and rightly so. It really seems like he poured his soul into that performance, and it does make me wonder again whether there are any lyrics changed, because if not, I feel like the original would seemingly being addressed to the same issues. I think my grammatical structure there was broken. Nevertheless, yes, it feels very personally imbued with Marc's experiences, emotions, understandings, his vulnerability, his bravery, his life. It feels like it really does come across in his vocal performance, which is not terribly different from what I've said about some of his soft cell vocal delivery, meaning it sounds like there's a couple moments where he goes a little outside the melodic pocket on purpose to really hit with his singular charisma the meaning, the feeling, the emotion of the line. But here it is a bit more restrained. It's not quite so like wild and over the top in a good way as I've heard it in some soft cell songs. And I think that's maybe indicative of the kind of tune it is. I think the arrangement, just Marc's voice and the piano, really does, number one, make the emotion of the tune more impactful, and secondarily put the spotlight squarely on what he's saying, which again, I do wonder if all those lines are straight from the original, and that was the same meaning in the Aznavour original version. Nevertheless, I think it's a fantastic performance. It's a very meaningful performance. Some of the lines in particular, especially the one Kim highlighted, but also the ones leading up to that about, having the way that there's such adversity like out in society, and the fact that, to be yourself is not a simple thing when, there's so many people calling you names and, being very judgmental. So the bravery of the the lyrics comes across in Mark's performance. It did have a sound like it could be part of a musical, which I guess if this is a musical show, like a stage show that he's doing, maybe that's essentially what it is in context. But again, it feels like something that could be part of a stage drama, is I guess what I mean to say. So, very cool song, lovely performance from Mark. Thank you again to Kim. Let me know what you think of this one, and I will see you next time. Peace.